Again, this is fascinating opportunity. As you know, Cuba has not been open and officially is not really open to American visitors. So we are one of the lucky groups that have access, and we have opportunity to give you access through us. Go and explore and see and enjoy and hear and smell and taste Cuba with us. So it's extremely fascinating. Again, happy to give this chance that we're back to enjoy Cuba and all the things that it represents. So very popular tour for us. You might have seen the first announcement, and we completely have sold out, but we know there are other interested parties like yourselves that are asking and want to go. So we want to make sure that we give another opportunity to go and join this trip. So with much further ado, we're going to go ahead and we have a short PowerPoint for you to see some visuals, some answers to some questions, things we'll do. But I do want to kick off. We have found really nice video on Cuba. It's a little more than a minute long. So it's very beautiful to see and hear. And we would like you to feature that for you and showcase it for you as a great way to start and to tease your senses. So I'm going to ask Amy to get it ready for us. And again, the trip dates are November 5 through the 10th. So November 5th through the 10th, departing here out of Houston and then coming back straight to Houston, a nonstop flight. So Amy, I'll wait for you to jump to the next screen and put this video for us. So.
We're now going to give you an idea of the different Cuban rhythms.
Just starting with the map, it's obvious, but I never assume. It's always, I find it very helpful to see where exactly, we are going, where Cuba is, and what the climate means and what geography represents. But very close to Houston, very close to US, and of course to Mexico as well. The tour itself does not encompass the rest of the island. It will focus only on Havana this time. So you will see the little bit better version of Havana and its smaller towns around it. Again, in this trip, the great thing is that we are staying in Havana for the duration of the whole trip. So just think of it as a beautiful way to unpack, enjoy. You don't have to repack for 5-6 days as you are there. So that is fantastic. Having day trips, we'll talk through some as well, and also some walking expeditions in town as well. So The great thing again is that it's not something on the move, that you get to enjoy the homestead will be part of, and where we're staying, it's really beautiful accommodations too. Because of the sanctions I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are some restrictions on where groups like us can stay, but I think it's even such a great opportunity. Imagine yourself staying, this is exactly where the group would be staying. So it is what they call a casita. It's rebuilt to accommodate guests, Westerners and so forth. So it's fantastic. The mixture of the old meets new. You're living in the neighborhood where other Cubans live, but look at that fantastic historical site that you actually get to wake up every morning in. So this is going to be your home away from home for our Cuba trip. So beautiful accommodations, private homestay. Again, with sanctions, we're not allowed to stay in big chain hotels, but this is so much even better. So beautiful place for you to stay and enjoy and have your breakfast, coffee in the patio or terrace, or have your afternoon beverage as well. So looking forward to meeting your hosts on that day as well. Great highlights of things we will be doing. Of course, Old Havana, you cannot imagine Cuba without visiting Old Havana and New. You see that how it's being reconstructed and how it still is in need of some of the funds and vibrancy that comes with it. But some of the highlights, just to, again, from architecture, we'll see different artists at work, classical way of Cuban art, but also new modern. And that's, I'm sure you agree that art is another way to see the expression and see where the country is going and developing. So artist is always very important component for us to showcase and include in our visits. And of course, you can't think of Cuban without Cuban music and dance and steps and cigars. You get to see and enjoy if that's your thing as well during this trip. So not just enjoying the demonstration of how they're made, but actually if cigar smoking is your thing and you want to give it a try, then certainly recommend that too. And you see so many colorful Pepto-Bismol cars and yellow and bright and blue. We know how much this is resonates with everybody. So we have included a trip on hired vehicles like that, or big motorcade that we follow each other and have a scenic ride through Old Town Havana. So you will see yourself seated in convertible and enjoying this Old Town of Havana. That is part of that. Very vibrant street life, music, as I mentioned, art, and Cuban acrobats. Think of their old part of Havana. You see them doing gymnastics and whatnot. Again, very colorfully high energy individuals. We'll speak about the next one in a few as well, but Hemingway is a big part of obviously as a writer from Miami and Cuba and Florida and the islands, and of course his stay, a novel that was done based on one of the we'll speak about in a second, but we'll have a chance to actually visit where the setting was and where the movie was influenced and story, of course, to start it. And not just living in the past of the Cuba, but also knowing the present and the futures. Where is the country going? What are they really making? How is that competing in global markets? So we'll have opportunity to meet with some of the kind of the private sector. And yes, there is a private sector. It's not all government owned opportunities, that how that has changed in the last 5, 10, 15 years. So again, very, very diverse opportunities for you to see and get to know the Cuba of today. So appreciate that. Food, very important part. Again, referencing a little bit of my comment on the restrictions. Again, we are not able to dine in any government-owned restaurants, but guess what? What is even so much better? That all our meals will be at the family-owned restaurants, and they call them paladars. And as you see, it comes from Spanish word plate, but it's fantastically real Cuban food made by Cubans, and we are on the receiving end of it. And of course, cuisine is a big part of our experience, and we will not only get to see and participate, but actually taste what we made and how food is made and what is means, what is grown, and how the chefs being very savvy on the limited amount of ingredients what they have and what fantastic food they are able to come up with. And I do have to say, when I was there, I hadn't really eaten that much fish or lobster in my life than I ate in Cuba. It just was not the obvious thing that I would think I'll be eating lobster in Cuba so often, but it is actually cheaper than beef or red meat, so therefore it's more accessible as well. But great fan of very, very diverse, flavorful, most locally grown food. So experience in itself. Art, I mentioned, there is a part of Old Havana. It's a neighborhood that's been transformed. We have some images for you. Again, the vibrancy, the old meets new, but then again, way of expressions, incorporating different materials. And it is, again, fantastic way to see another part of Havana and transition. And again, the vibrant Caribbean colors and what that means. And there is a lot of historic references, of course, how the island came about, where people came. So you have not only Latin, but very strong African presence of African culture, religion, colors as well. So it's a fantastic mixture of color, culture, and experiences for you. So again, one of the highlighted neighborhoods that we'll be visiting. I mentioned Hemingway a bit earlier, and I'm sure most of you, if have not seen The Old Man and the Sea, have read it, or if you haven't seen it or read it, you definitely have heard it. And I encourage you to actually have a second, not a second, I would say free afternoon, take a look at the movie. It's very well done. I saw it myself a couple months back in the preparation for this dialogue and for the trip as well. And we are going to the village or fishing town that is right outside Havana, where the story was written. The sites are still there. Again, it's one of the highlights. It's how it ties it back together to us, the U.S. culture and the local Cuban culture. So, Old Man and the Sea. Welcome you again to revisit the movie. It's well done, nice story indeed. So it is on our agenda as well. And music and dance. You see it, you hear it, you feel it. So you'll be seeing it all the way through, hearing on the streets, and of course different institutions as you walk by. Also evening music that is heard, and we want you not only just to see it and hear it, we actually want you to try it. So we have arranged not only demonstration, but you have a chance for you to learn and practice. So you can bring some skills back here on some Cuban salsa and merengue dancing. That is also something, again, another way to enjoy the culture is through music and influences. So make sure you take your dancing shoes with you. And yes, comfortable walking shoes, but dancing will be in your agenda as well. This trip really includes, and my colleague Amy will probably laugh about me again, but it's really every single thing that you can possibly think of from the moment that you leave home, or I should say, from the moment you arrive at the airport is included in this trip. So round trip airfare, and we know how pricey those are. We're able to negotiate, and that the airfare is already included in the trip cost. Any and all documentation, again, it's a little bit of a, because of the restrictions that are imposed through the U.S. Treasury Department and special license, all of those documents are taken care of. As date gets closer, we'll have some paperwork for you to go through as well, but it's really basic and we are here to help you go through it. But all of that paperwork is already taken care of, paid for. Health insurance in Cuba, that is, as it says, it's mandatory for us to enter, and that is part of included there. But I will note that my suggestion still would be to consider insurance through your provider or travel insurance that is available as a backup, because even though it is regulated and encouraged and actually mandatory by Cuba, again, I probably felt best in you too that you have your additional coverage, and those options are for a short trip like that are not very costly as well. Again, any and all transfers, again, as soon as you get off the plane in Havana, transportation, bus, entry tickets, all of that is already paid for. Ground transportation obviously is included as well. Modern buses, air conditioned, so no worries on any of those. Accommodations, again, in the beautiful home that we showed you earlier. And it is functions like a bread and breakfast, therefore the breakfast is always provided by the host. Lunch and dinner, we are, again, have selected private venues to be at, and that is already taken care of for you as well. Welcome and farewell. We want you to have a good time, enjoy some beer and wine. Very, very exciting. If you see the image, the second image with the dancer is the well-known Tropicana show. If you think of the Havana of time of Frank Sinatra and so forth, again, that energy, vibe, and colors, we are taking you to actual Tropicana show and to experience, again, the influences of different Caribbean peoples who live there, and again, the African culture too, very strong and present. And it is educational tour, and we want you to educate all your senses. Again, as part of this, mentioned earlier, all the entrance fees are paid for you. We will have a dedicated English-speaking guide as well, who is used to American visitors and well prepared to speak and to host us. So really, everything from the moment you leave your home, you get on a plane, you have nothing to worry about at all to spending money. A couple of things are not included, but they're kind of the obvious, so just those. If you wish to purchase additional, wine or so forth with the meal, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. And any personal expenditures. Medical insurance I spoke already about a little bit. Travel insurance I mentioned as well. I want to mention a little bit on the phone and internet communications. Still a sanctioned country. There are technically more complications to reach Cuba. Not all cell phone providers work in Cuba, so we encourage you to check with yours. What we do know, one of our travelers said that Verizon provides coverage in Cuba, but just be prepared that the in general communication is a bit spotty, so it's not the reliability that you might be used to. That you come home, you put in and you check your emails while you're lounging. It might be a little bit more restricted. So just be prepared. And again, I certainly encourage you to reach out to your phone provider and see that if they cover Cuba. Again, it's not us, but it's because of the sanctions that US has with Cuba. So phone calls, that is obviously not included. Laundry, I don't really anticipate that you might need to do it, but it's something, the convenience of staying in one place. You can certainly also do some quick rinse in your room and let it dry for a couple of days. That's certainly doable too, and insurance as well. But really, anything and everything else is there for you to have and enjoy. We expect to be beautiful weather. November is one of the best times to go. It is a tropical climate, so we don't want to go there in hot summer. And we also know what that means if there are some hurricanes, and sometimes they do hit Cuba. Therefore, we want to make sure we go at the best time, most pleasant time of the year to be, so you can enjoy everything that this has to offer, from the music to food to tasting to walking the streets of Old Town Havana. Pricing is only a little bit over $5,600, but again, you know very well too what airline prices are right now, and airline could be in some cases almost half of that. And can you imagine for 6 days you don't have to worry about any expenses at all. Single supplement, I assume some of you might be familiar, but if you're not, it means if you wish to have a room allocated only to yourself. Many travelers, we have our couples, of course, so it doesn't apply, but those who say specifically assign me a single room, there usually is an additional fee for that kind of service. But yeah, it's fantastic deal. Again, airfare, transfers, hotel, accommodations, meals, and the experiences that you build. So it's very conveniently priced. I think we're gonna go, next slide, we'll just have Amy's information. If Amy, you will put a next one for us, but look at those colorful cars, just imagine. And we did that actually, we hired cars like that in a whole entourage, and we just drove around Old Town Havana by the beach and get to reminisce and see those colorful images that you see. And it's quite amazing, right? That these cars are still maintained, and I think duct tape was their best friend for many years. But they're extremely creative, happy people that want to be known and want to share their experiences, and so happy to welcome us. And you know, sanctions or no sanctions, but life in Cuba has gone on. Other cultures have traveled and do travel. A lot of Europeans come to Cuba, and I've been coming for multiple years. Canadians and of course Latin South America. Life has gone on. It's more of a restrictions only for American traveler that we really imposed, but so great progress there. And I'm sure the country has really grown and changed in the last 10 years. And that was really because opportunities provided that we as a tourists have brought in kind of exchanges that we have as well. Again, this was a very quick opportunity for us to touch point. We have a lot of information on our website. Amy is available to help everybody interested in further details. We do expect this trip to sell out. We are, as I mentioned, first group is completely at capacity and the second one is halfway. I really expect this to sell out probably in the next few weeks. Great interest, and we have a couple families coming also, making it a family trip. So it is very memorable. And I have mentioned I have been there too, and I greatly enjoyed it, and would certainly go back in a second. So wanted to see if I didn't answer questions, if I need to clarify something, if I need to speak to something one more time, or deeply happy to, you know, do that. If anybody has have Karen or Steve or Steve mentioned that he's on another call, so it was a little bit restricted, but and we do have we have captured this also as recording. So again, we put it on our website, you can see it. But again, wanted to be very respectful of your time. It's daytime, it's lunchtime, and a little bit less flexibility than we might have in the evening. But nevertheless, wanted to give you the chance to dial in and meet Amy and myself and be available to answer any questions. So anybody else has any questions, or Doris, Karen, and I think Doris or Karen?
This is Doris. No questions.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Doris. Yeah.
Yeah, no questions.
Okay. Yeah. Again, yeah, it's we have hosted another session that was a little bit longer, but Amy and I thought it would be just a great time to revisit, update you, and be available to host you and meet you, even though it's just virtual. I am good on my side. Anything, Amy, that I might have missed that you hear interacting with some of the other customers that might be helpful for Doris or Steve or Karen?
I think we're good. Just thank you all for your interest. If you have any questions or want to make your reservation, definitely get in touch with me. I am available. We are here in the office until 5 every day.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll join us.
Exactly. So I think if everybody's good to go, we're going to go ahead and say thank you. I wish you a good afternoon ahead. We are available and certainly look forward to hosting you on this trip, or maybe another one, or this one and another one. And certainly look forward to seeing you on our upcoming programs. We have fantastic fall lineup, so be on the lookout. That's going to come out very shortly. So thank you all for your time, and we are here and look forward to hearing you. Wish you a wonderful afternoon. Stay cool.